Welcome to Find Happiness, a place where you find peace, joy, and happiness. Today we have a very important guest in the house, Lauren Rose. She is a wife and mother who lives with the challenges of chronic pain, major depression, and severe anxiety. She's also a survivor of sexual assault and abuse in multiple forms, including verbal, physical, emotional, and spiritual. In 2017, due to debilitating spinal pain, Lauren had to leave her job and spent the next 2 years struggling with deep depression. However, last year she started a podcast and blog as a way to bring positivity into the world and provide encouragement to others who may be facing similar challenges, such as chronic pain, mental illness, or post trauma. Welcome, Lauren. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and letting me share my story.
How are you doing today, by the way?
I'm okay. We're iced out here in Dallas, Texas, so my whole family's home. So that's interesting.
Awesome, awesome. So good to hear. I'm really happy to have you here. And one of the reasons we bring such resource persons like you and others that have been on Find Happiness podcast is to help people go back from amber to green and not to go from amber to red with the kind of experiences and challenges you've had in life. Anyone who listens or hears this will tell himself, if Lauren can do this, then I can do this. So welcome. Thanks for making yourself available. We're so happy to have you here.
Sure.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I put down a few questions for you and I'll just shoot. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay,
Let's
awesome.
go.
Awesome. Can you tell us a bit about your experience with depression and how it has affected you?
Sure. So I think I've been depressed since I was about 8. That's when I started isolating in my room by myself. I stopped playing with other kids on the playground. When I was 15, I was suicidal. I had an eating disorder, and my parents found out. They threw me into therapy. We never talked about why I was suicidal or had an eating disorder. They just wanted me to fix myself. I got out of it just not really through therapy, but through the love of my friends. I got out of the eating disorder. But I mean, I still had depression. I finally saw a doctor when I was 22. I started antidepressants, and at that time I was struggling with, over the last few years, having experienced sexual abuse from my cousin, rape and physical abuse, and then growing up I experienced verbal abuse from my dad. So I had a lot of trauma that I just wanted to go away. I didn't seek help for any of it. I just was hoping that if I ignored it, it would go away. So I started an antidepressant. It worked pretty well for a few years. I had to go through a couple of different antidepressants because one just made me feel completely numb. Like I didn't care what happened to me. And that's not what I wanted. I still wanted to feel joy and happiness and any other feelings, and I just felt nothing. So I finally got on the right one, and I was mostly fine for several years. And then in 2016, I started having severe spinal pain. Turns out I have autoimmune disease and multiple kinds of arthritis. And so in 2017, I had to stop working. And I went on short-term disability. And over that time, I tried to get better. I tried to help my pain, but it just got worse. My spinal pain spread through the rest of my body. I developed fibromyalgia. And then after my short-term disability expired, my company eliminated my position, so I didn't have a job anymore, which I guess it didn't really matter because I couldn't work, but it really was tough because I loved my job and I loved my company. So I spent the next 2 years pretty much in bed. I was so depressed. I I I just felt like I'd lost my purpose in life. And when you lose your purpose in life and you don't think you have a purpose, it's really depressing. So I I really only got out of bed to take care of my daughter, who was about I think 4 or 5 at the time, and other than that, I was just in bed. So, do you want me to? That's kind of how it's been. Do you want me to talk about how I got out of it, or is that another question?
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll
Okay.
get to that. Yeah, but honestly, I'm so sorry to hear all this, but this is all in your past as well. Like being raped by your cousin, verbally abused by your father, losing your job, and all you've said. It takes a strong heart to be sane, and to get to this position, and it takes a lot to be able to say these things out. Like you're a strong woman, you're a strong woman, and thank you for saying these words, for being open and emptying up, so people who are going through similar things would hear this and see how they can heal out of the positions they find themselves. Thank you so much, Lauren. Okay, so I'll ask the next question, and it's I'm not asking this question because I'm asking this question because I want people going through this to be able to identify these processes and see how they can follow through. Okay, so well, how did you first realize that you needed help, and what steps did you take to overcome your depression?
Um, well, I think in my early 20s, I just realized that I wasn't finding joy in things. I was miserable. I was using relationships with men as a way to find happiness, and it wasn't working. And so that's when I started the antidepressant. Um, when I lost my job, I mean, I knew I needed help over those 2 years, but I was in such a bad place of depression, I couldn't ask for help. I was just, it was, I wasn't happy like that. I didn't like it, but I just was so miserable that I wouldn't have been able to go to therapy. I wouldn't have been able to make that phone call. I couldn't do it. I was so depressed.
Oh yeah, so what exactly was the factor that made you realize you need help? That's what I'm trying to get.
I think that I wasn't involved in it. I think I was when I wasn't involved in my family's life. I was missing so much of my daughter's life, growing up and her playing. I wasn't going on dates with my husband. We weren't having family dinners because I was in bed all the time. I was missing, my social relationships, my relationships with, my
Okay.
the rest of my family.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's better. I think that from what I gathered, you noticed that you were staying away from people, social relationships. Your relationship with people was not really what you thought it was supposed to be. So that's where you realized you needed help. Yeah, and you also
Right.
mentioned that you also used having relationships to try to um, help with depression. Like speaking to that, what kind of relationships?
So I mean, in my early 20s, I had a lot of sex. Um,
Okay,
I was trying to find, I guess, love that I didn't feel from these other men that had been in my life, and I was trying to find love and acceptance.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those things don't really amount to anything. They're just for the moment, and after that, it's gone. It's gone. A lot of people try to use different coping mechanisms to help with depression. Like you just mentioned, you talked about having sex. Some people go into drugs. Some people go into different things, and these things are really, really addictive. And then you just get into more trouble. You're trying to get out from it. You're
Mm-hmm.
getting deeper and deeper and deeper, which is not the best way. Okay, we'll get to that. But These points are noted. So to our audience, don't try to look out for coping mechanisms that will really get you addicted and you get into trouble more than getting out. There are more ways to find acceptance and to find love, and these things will be discussed as we go on. Okay, now speaking to the role that faith and spirituality played in your journey to overcoming depression, can you give us some highlights?
Sure. So I've never lost my faith, but it was kind of put on hold for those 2 years when I was in a really deep depression. I just in February of 2019, I joined the first women's Bible study at my church that I'd ever gone to, and they were reading a
Yeah.
book called It's Not Supposed to Be This Way, which is how I felt about my life. This is not what I had worked for. This is not what I'd planned. I didn't plan to have chronic pain and not be able to work anymore. That's not what I had planned for my life. And so we were reading that book, and it made me realize that God could take my broken life and make something new and beautiful out of it. And there was also a lady
Okay.
in my group who
Wow. Do you know what? I get speechless as you talk, right? Because I'm just thinking through as you like highlighting this point, and honestly, the words I have for you are just few, and I'll say it again. You're a very strong woman, a very strong woman. Speaking to faith and spirituality, these things are very key in our lives. Everybody, like some people call it higher powers, and you know. So, whatever your higher power is to our audience, I'm speaking though, whatever their higher powers would be, I think at some point you need to draw strength from that because depression is not just a word. It's something that is very real. It can be very, very physical. You can feel it. When I was really, really depressed, I don't, depression is like a dark cloud, like that you can feel. It's like a hollow that you're going down and you're not coming up. It just keeps taking you down, and you need something higher. You need some form of strength that would really come in from within. And I think that speaking to the word higher powers, faith, spirituality, and all that, these things can really help you. Not just that, also, some people try not to speak up at all. They keep quiet and die in shame and die in silence, and that leads to more depression. So, whenever you're going through stuff, open up your mouth, speak to people. People would help. You never can tell who would really help you, but try to not speak to people who would mock or laugh at you, but people who really care about you. And in those kind of trying times, that's when you know who's really got your back, right? Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so how has your experience with depression influenced your outlook on life and your approach to dealing with challenges?
So another huge thing that helped me get out of my depression was gratitude. I started every single night just closing my eyes and thinking about three things that I was grateful for. And sometimes it was hard because I wasn't feeling very grateful. So coming out of depression has helped me be more grateful for all the little things and the big things in my life.
Oh,
And coming out of it, I feel like if I can make it out of that darkness that I was in for so long, I can overcome just about anything, right?
yeah.
Because that was the hardest time of my life, probably. I was just in such a deep, deep depression. And if I can overcome that with my higher power and with my strength and my coping mechanisms, I feel like I can conquer anything.
Oh, okay. So, but what I was really asking is your experience with depression. Has it um how do I put it influenced your outlook in life, the way you take life, and your approach to dealing with the challenges? That's what I meant.
Um, well, I feel a lot more compassion for people because I
Yeah.
never know what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a lot less judgmental towards people because I don't know their story. And so if someone is, rude to me at the grocery store, yeah, I don't like it in that moment, but when I rethink about it, I try to stop all the stories I tell myself about them and just remind myself I have no idea what their story is. I don't know what they might be going through. So I try to just have more compassion for other people.
Okay. Okay. So how long did you really deal with depression? You said from age 8.
Yeah, so 8 and I'm 43 now, so 8, 18, 28, 31. So about 15 years now.
Wow. Awesome. So within these years of depression, within the 15 years of depression, um, what exactly were your experiences with people? Like you said earlier on, though, like you were into yourself and all that. But like, I want you to talk more about like highlight what happened between that 15 years, how you lived your life. You just stopped on the surface, but I want you to go a little bit deeper.
Well, I became very shy, and I think I was born an introvert, but I became very shy and very unsure of myself. So I didn't in middle school, I didn't have any friends because I didn't talk to anybody. I was just so shy. In high school, I only had a few friends, and they were friends that I spent a lot of my time with in band. And I even had one guy ask me one time if I even knew how to talk because I never spoke up. I never said anything. And and I mean that's the same way that I lived my life about the trauma too. I never spoke up. I never said anything. I just internalized it all. I kept it all in. And so what it did was cause me to start having headaches, migraines when I was 15. And I mean I still deal with them, and I think a lot of it is just from keeping my feelings in, keeping my trauma in, keeping my you know my thoughts and my opinions in. I just I don't let anybody see who I really am, I guess. So I lived my life, very lonely. I felt lonely for years and years and years. Sometimes I still feel lonely, even though I've got, a great husband, a couple of really good friends, but I just feel like something's always been wrong with me, and I don't feel like I'm normal. I don't feel like I really fit in anywhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense. I think depression sometimes it takes people indoors, whatever, and then you just don't want to. There's this stigma, there's this distance that it creates, and that's one of the biggest problems that people have, and it makes people not open up. So I think at this point, speaking to the audience, it's something that needs to be broken. That silence when you're down, when you're depressed, it's something you need to break. You don't, like I repeat, you don't need to keep to yourself. You need to open up, open your mouth. That's why we have the mouth. So, and it's not, it's not locked. There's no key. Yeah, exactly. You need to open up
Right.
and speak up. Say something, no matter how difficult it is. Just say something, and help will always come. Okay, yeah. Speaking to disability, right? Challenges with chronic pain. Sorry. Um, how did you manage that as well? Sorry. How did you manage that?
Um, so one thing that I do is talk about it with my family and with my friends. So my family knows my close family knows my struggles with my chronic pain, with my depression, with my anxiety. I do talk about it. I don't keep it in, so that they understand. If I can't come to, a family event, family dinner because of one of these things, they won't be mad at me because they'll understand I'm going through things. Another way I manage is getting help. So, I mean, that includes, help from my daughter and from my husband, help from my mom, anyone who can help me. It also includes medications, it also includes getting therapy, because chronic pain is, I have a lot of grief because I lost a good portion of my health. I lost my ability to do things that I used to be able to do. I lost my ability to do things with my daughter, like sit on the floor and play with her for an hour or volunteer at her school. And the other big thing is compassion for myself. That's a really hard one for me because I'm really hard on myself. I feel like I should be able to do more. I should be able to do all of these things. And some things I can do, I just do them differently. So I have to sit down to do chores. I have to sit down on something to, sweep the floor or to do dishes or to do laundry, because I can't stand for very long. So I modify my tasks, but I also have a lot of grace for myself on days where I can't do things. And that my husband is really good about reminding me to have grace for myself too. So if I need to take a day because of pain or because of depression or because of anxiety, I need that mental health day or that physical health day. So a lot of compassion for myself.
Awesome. I was trying to relate the disability and what you were going through to what you started, right? I was trying to relate it. That's why I asked the question, because a lot of people, they just sit in there and they're done. Like, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to go out. But look at you here, having all been through all that kind of trauma, being disabled and all that to do things, but yet you moved on to the next and you started something that's helping people. So that's the question I want to ask. So can you tell us um, about your podcast and blog and what motivated you to start them?
So when I started coming out of my deep depression after those 2 years, I got on Facebook groups and, apps for people with chronic illness. And I found a lot of joy in helping other people, in giving them encouragement and giving them advice. And so I decided that that was my new purpose in life, was
Wow.
to take my pain, my depression, my anxiety, my trauma, and use that to help other people in whatever way I could. To use my pain and put good into the world. So I started a blog called It Hurts to Mom. It's, specifically for parents or for anyone dealing with chronic pain or, illness or trauma. And then I thought for months about starting a podcast, but I'm an introvert and I just thought, I don't know if I can do that. I don't like talking to people. I don't know what I'm going to do, but a friend of mine encouraged me to put as much good into the world as I could. So I just went for it. I just put on my earbuds and downloaded an app and started a podcast. And I've been blessed to have just so many different topics about parenting, about health, about chronic pain, about grief, about anxiety and depression. I have lots of guests that come on and share their experiences, and I've had a lot of people tell me, this is really something that they needed, and or that they would have needed back when they were dealing with being a parent with chronic pain. So I don't believe that our circumstances control our attitudes or control our destiny. I think we do, and having this new purpose in life which is to help other people, is is what keeps me from being in bed all the time. It feels good. It makes me happy. And even if I'm, 1 week only helping, one or two people, that's better than not doing anything. That's better than nothing. Because those one or two people are people with families and friends and lives and struggles. And so it's just been such a blessing for me to be able to do this.
Well, just speaking to bringing the best in you and bringing it out. I'm also an introverted person, like honestly. So you're not alone
Yeah.
in this. Like I also thought if I was going to be able to do this, I'm a very shy person. And when I tell people, hey, look, I don't think I want to come out, they'll be like, hey, shut up. Why you deceiving us? And when I even wanted to start to start this, I've got some close allies I spoke to, and I told them I need to do this, and all some like one or two of them told me pop and plain they don't think I can do this. No, 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 I don't think you can do this. Just let's
Wow.
let's do it some other way. You can do it some other way, because I used to have like a host and a guest. I bring my host and I bring the guest, and then they talk, But I was like, come on, I can do this. What's there? And the best I got from them was you can't do it. So I told myself, okay,
Mm.
if I can't do it, then let me do it the best way I can.
Good for
Honestly,
you. That's awful.
yeah, honestly, and here I am doing it and doing the best I can, not the best I can't.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad you answered the call. Most of the time when you go through things like this, it gives birth to destiny calls where you have to help a lot of people. You don't know how many people you're helping. You don't know the impact of telling people your experiences and how you got through it. You don't know who's just about to say, no, I can't do this again. Let me take my life, and then they listen to your
Hmm.
incredible story and they tell themselves, no, I think I need to stand up. So, to our viewers, to our listeners, to the audience, you don't need to end it all. Lauren is here. She's disabled. She's had so much in life. Like, if you start counting them, you keep counting. But see her here, up and doing something this big to help you guys out. So go out there, get out, get out, and get to do something.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren. You're doing
Absolutely.
awesome. You're doing awesome. This is an amazing job, and God bless you for
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you share an advice or tip for others who may be going through similar experiences that you've had, and just tell them something. Tell them that little secret that they need to know. Big secret, little secret, whatever. Just tell them something. Yeah.
Um, I think, like you talked about earlier, you have to talk about it. You have to, don't keep it in. Don't keep your depression in. Don't keep your trauma in. Don't keep your feelings and your thoughts in. Talk to somebody, whether that's a really close, trusted friend that's not going to judge you, whether that's a professional. You have to talk about it so that it will get better.
Oh, great, great. And how has your life changed since overcoming your depression? And what are your future goals and plans related to your blog, your podcast, and all that? Let's hear it all.
Yeah, so I mean, my life has changed. I'm not stuck in bed all day completely miserable. I'm able to get out of bed and enjoy my day, even if I can't do things that other people can do, like work a job. I'm not stuck in bed anymore. And I back then I literally couldn't get out of bed. I was too depressed. And now I have a new purpose in life, and that just it completely changed my mental health to have a reason to get out of bed, and for that reason to be to help other people. And my goals for my blog's kind of been put to the side once I started the podcast, but I'm wanting to get back more to my blog because I am a writer. And my goal for my podcast is just to keep having awesome guests that come with different stories and different expertises, and just keep that going as long as people want to listen.
Great, 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 great. If we keep going on and on and on and on, I wouldn't want to leave leave this set. Like honestly, your story is so inspiring. It's full of strength. It's full of hope and everything positive. Honestly, thank you. Thanks a lot, Lauren. Well, so before we wrap up, would you mind sharing your contact info in case people listening would want to reach out and see how they can get help and whatever way they want to interact and do stuff with you? I don't know if you mind.
Sure. No, of course. My email is ithurtstomom@gmail.com. And my podcast is It Hurts to Mom. It's on Apple and Spotify. My Instagram is at It Hurts to Mom. So you can find me all those places. And please reach out if you have similar experiences, if you want to be on my podcast, if you just want to talk.
Wow, great, 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 great. Looking at your profile, like, oh, so I just spoke like a typical Nigerian. Said Omo. It's been awesome having you here, honestly. Like for the next 2 years, she was in deep depression. In the next 2 years, last year she started a podcast and blog. That's an awesome approach to life. That's something like a fighter, a go getter would do. Like I'm not sitting in here, I'm moving forward. Thank you so much for your inspiring messages, your inspiring story, your inspiring experience. I've learned so much from you as well, and I am grateful. We are grateful from the Find Happiness podcast team. We're really grateful to have you on this podcast, and honestly, we hope to have you here again to talk more and delve more into things that that only experience can tell. So for now, to our audience, thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to stay happy, and if you're depressed, please open up, speak up, and make sure you don't die in silence. Happiness is a choice, but I choose happiness. What do you choose?
I absolutely choose happiness.
Yes, I think every wise person would choose happiness. So until the next episode, stay blessed and have a nice day. Bye for now.
Thank you.